Hello there. Do you find yourself still having trouble with that weight gain piece of anorexia recovery? Well, watch the following video, like or subscribe, and peace. Hello there, my name is Billy Juliana. I'm 49 years old and I have a 40-year history of dealing with anorexia nervosa, and I'm currently following the recovery methods espoused by Tabitha Farrar, Kayla Rose Katecki, and Elisa Orris. And in my last video, I said I'm not going to talk about weight management, body weight, size, or anything like that ever again because it's not relevant to anorexia recovery. Forever and amen. Except for the fact that I keep having these echoing voices that say, but wait, no pun intended, weight management and weight control are so important. But wait, thinness is your talent. Thinness is your life's goal. But wait, don't you want to enter middle age as a fit, buff person that is admired? But wait, you can't handle being in a larger body. You can't even handle the 45 pounds you've already gained. And I'm telling you, this chitter chatter is going on in my brain and ticking around like a clock. Now, I could just be a nut, but some of you may relate, so hang with me here. Now, I'm going to just say at the outset that this part of anorexia recovery is the most difficult for me, the weight part. I really just have fat phobia, and so I'm scared of getting to a weight that I can't handle. I've already had enough difficulty with the weight I'm at now, but my brain is still asking for a lot of food because my body still needs so much food. And I'm talking about the primal part of my brain, not the anorexic part. The primal part of my brain is going, food, food, food. We need more energy. We need to store more. And so I know that I'm going to gain even more weight. This is tough for me because I'm already going, hello, I'm struggling with where I am now. But anyway, I want to say I have a magic cure for you, but I don't. I don't even have many pearls of wisdom. But I do want to talk about it because it is such a challenging thing for people in anorexia recovery. Now, if you happen to know of anyone out there on YouTube who has a magic cure for this part of anorexia recovery, that has a magic cure for getting over the difficulty of weight gain, can you put a link down in the comments? I'd like to go to that channel and check it out. I would really like to see their cure. And I know that the bigwigs like Tabitha Farrar and Kayla Rose and Elisa Orris and all those folks have said, you know what? Weight is not an issue. Get that through your brain. Pretend it's not there. Pretend the fear is not there and act accordingly. Act like you aren't scared and just go. Hello? And I'm like, I'm having trouble with that. And there are some people who are able to get into recovery. They start eating unrestrictedly. They rest and they just steamroll their way to a place of freedom. And I'm not saying it's not hard for them, but they just keep going. They just steamroll. And for me, I'm like walking on eggshells. I'm so far behind those people. I'm like, where'd you go? I am just walking on eggshells. Like, this is really difficult. And I think I need to get on the steamroller and start steamrolling my way through. This is all pretty much a digression, I understand. But I'm just saying that there isn't a magic cure that I know of. Yes, I'm supposed to pretend that the fear isn't there, but I find myself caught up in the fear, off guard. You know, it just slaps me in the face and I'm like punched and I'm like, whoa, that fear, it's there. Oh, I'm supposed to pretend it's not there. You're not there. And then I start walking away and then the fear's like, I'm still here. And I'm like, go away. You know, it just latches on to me. So it's very, very, very challenging for me to pretend the fear isn't there. I've done it. I have done it, but it still remains a challenge. And I know a lot of people are not even getting into recovery because they're looking at the climb of weight gain and they're like, I'm not even going to start that. Bye. You know. However, a lot of you are watching YouTube recovery videos because you have anorexia and you want so badly to get rid of it. You want so badly to just shed yourself of that old life. It's the only life you really know, but you want to shed yourself of it because you know it's wrong and you know it's not fun. So that's why you're watching recovery videos. And yet it's so hard to even get started. And then there are those of us who have started, who have gotten into the unrestricted eating thing. But like me, I've been kind of walking on eggshells through it and kind of stopping and starting and having a difficult time and a difficult journey, because I too am forecasting the climb ahead, and I'm like, I don't know about this, as I just said. So I believe it takes a community of like-minded people who want to be rid of anorexia nervosa, and people who want to live by the way, because you know what? If we're a little bit older and we've had the disease that much longer, we're that much closer to death. So it's really important. The time is now to start unrestricted eating and allow our bodies get to the places weight-wise that they need to be for optimal health, and just allow that process to happen. It's very important. So I want to emphasize that. But I think that it takes a community of like-minded people, like all of us who are watching YouTube, to get recovered, to support one another through the process. We are doing this alone. We are not going into treatment, thank goodness, because I don't really like treatment. So we need a community, though, to help ourselves, to help support ourselves and prop ourselves up through this process. And I'm trying to create a chat forum on my website for us to all kind of air our thoughts and our support and even our grievances and our struggles and stuff like that, so that we can have a place to vent or to support one another through this process. Because I do think it takes a lot of care to get through the difficulty that we face, because so many of us have invested our life savings. At least this is our perception, that we have invested our life savings in weight management and weight control. And so cutting that off is like entering the world homeless. It's like our greatest fear. So again, we need to support one another through the process. And so right now we can do it through the comments and through emails and things like that. I think that's extremely important. So feel free to comment in the comment box below. But again, I think that weight control and weight suppression and all of that stuff, we need to get rid of it. It is no longer important. We need to tell ourselves this day in, day out. We don't care. We don't care about our weight. It's just no longer important. Even though all of society says it is, it's not. So we need to tell ourselves this, and it takes a lot of strength in numbers to get that through our concretized brains. So that's point number one that I wanted to make. And then I wanted to throw out another point here. And this is a blanket statement. And I'm sorry that I'm just kind of generalizing here, but I do think that people with eating disorders are all highly sensitive people. And that is not a bad thing. That means we care about each other, and that we care about life, that we care about things that are in the world. However, I think in my particular case, I came into the world as a highly sensitive person already genetically, and the moment I was born, I was like, WTF. I don't have a conscious memory of this, but I'm pretty sure that's what was going on in my brain. I was safe and warm, and then all of a sudden this. And so I kind of struggled through my toddlerhood and everything, and I did pretty well. You know, my parents were around, and I had a very good childhood comparatively, so I'm not bashing my parents at all, or my family. So I made it through up to age 9, but I'm a highly sensitive person, and by age 9, things were going on in the world around me that I just couldn't handle. And I thought I needed to take care of them. I thought I needed to handle them. Things like inflation and gas rationing and the hostage situation in Iran that was going on. And then also disco. And then back in 1976, the movie Jaws had come out, the one about the shark. And I was afraid that there were sharks in the water pipes. And I was still afraid in 1979 that when I took a bath, there was a possibility that a shark would come through the spigot. And so this was overwhelming. And I wanted to fix these things, but I couldn't. They were too distant. They were too above me. However, there was one problem out there in society that I could fix. It was in my household, in my nuclear family. People were trying to do this. And it was in my extended family as well. So it was all very close to home. And that was weight control. Lots of people were struggling with that. And I was like, well, I can help with this. I can control my weight. And so that's what I did. And so that ended up creating this construction zone that became my safety zone from all of this other stuff that seemed so overwhelming. And yes, through the years, world crises changed and I changed, but anorexia always remained the same. It was food control, weight suppression, and lots of exercise. And that's pretty much it, you know? And so that was always foremost on my agenda. No matter what was going on in the world, this was foremost on my agenda. And so, like I said, there's a lot invested in that way of life. And, you know, I don't say on this channel that I'm going to claim my life back by getting rid of anorexia, because I don't know what life I'm claiming. Because the only life I know or remember is really anorexia. So the thought of getting rid of anorexia is scary enough in and of itself. But I'm like, okay, I'm willing to go someplace alien and foreign. I'm willing to do that. However, it's just very challenging when there's such a physical aspect to it. A physical aspect that I put a lot of what I've considered a lot of time and resources into. And it's like a life savings, and I'm cutting that off. I don't realize that this is worthless. You know, this investment that I made, it's actually false money. It's like monopoly money. It's not worth anything. So sorry about that. The life savings that I've created is not actually worth anything. So it's really incumbent upon me to actually get into recovery and get something that is worth something. One of those things is eating good food. Not eggplant and peppers for the time being, but good food, and letting myself rest. And so I just wanted to say that, because I know a lot of us are just highly sensitive people. And so we take things very, very, very to heart. And so a lot of things out there in the world seem extra challenging to us. That does not mean that we are weak. We're actually very courageous and strong, and we have a lot of sympathy and empathy for other people. This is a hugely wonderful trait. So I want to congratulate all of us who are highly sensitive people. And I also want to say that every single one of you out there is unique and special. Now that's hard for me to get out, even for me to say if it applies to myself. I'm like, I may be unique, but I'm not special. But we have to consider this. We are unique and special without the disease. The disease is what makes us so similar. Now, of course, a lot of us have the same interests and the same senses of humor and all that kind of stuff, and that's wonderful. But we all bring a unique and special piece to the whole colorful tapestry that it is. So that's basically what I wanted to say, yet again, about fear of weight gain and body size changing and all of that. And I realize I've touched on this so much in other videos. I also realize that a lot of psychologists and analysts have said that anorexia is just a big coping skill for dealing with life, and that you can get rid of that and be a good person in the world without that. And I'm saying something that's very similar with a little extra tacked on, and that is there's a lot more convoluted entanglement in our brains that is going on psychologically with anorexia. And so we're having to unfurl all of that. And so it's very pat to say, oh, you're using this as a coping mechanism, just switch over and you can do something healthy. That's a little pat to say. So we've got to support one another. We all get this. We all get the complexity of what's going on up here. It doesn't mean that we cannot recover. It doesn't even mean that I need to take 4 or 5 years to do it, but it does take time. However, I want to emphasize that the nutritional rehabilitation part can be a lot faster than I have made it for myself. Like I said, I've done this sort of eggshell thing, and I need to really steamroll right now. I need to get on that steamroller and go forward and do it much more quickly, and just pretend, like the bigwigs say, that the fear isn't there. But also realize that I'm a highly sensitive person, and that I might feel fear, and that I might feel vulnerable, and I might feel like I might need a straitjacket at any moment, but that I can do this. that I am a courageous person, that I have a lot of courage, that I've survived this world with anorexia for 49 years. Let's think of it that way. I can do much better now without it.
I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter.
I know that anorexia recovery is tough, and the weight gain piece is probably the toughest piece in there. A lot of you are just sitting there going, I'm afraid of being fat. I'm afraid of getting fat. And I hate to use the word fat because it's not a good word to use in society these days, but I think it's necessary to bring it up because that's what's going on in our brains. That's what the bottom line thing that we're saying to ourselves is. We need to switch that up and say, I don't want to live with anorexia anymore. I hate this way of life. And so I'm willing to feel all the fullness. I'm willing to get into a larger body. I'm willing to do all of that. And I'm doing it right now. As of right now, I'm doing that. As of right now, I'm steamrolling my way to a place where I can say I'm liberated from this disease. And I'm using all of y'all's support, and you're using all of my support in order to get there, because we need each other through this process, because it's difficult. So, having said that, please eat unrestrictedly, rest for a prolonged period, no lower level movement, take care, and peace. Until next time.